Another unique aspect of California law is something that we have called the Private Attorney General's Act. What that means is that under California law, employees can sue not just on behalf of themselves if they've been aggrieved, but like an attorney general, on behalf of all members of the state of all citizens of the state of California, sort of bringing the power and the hammer of government behind an individual aggrieved employee. Private Attorney General Act and California employment laws are full of booby traps and trips and gotcha provisions for California employers, large and small. And Assemblymember Shannon Grove is taking aim at one of those to try to help make PAGA a little bit better. So thank you very much, Assemblymember Grove.
So the Private Attorney General Act, since this law was passed in 2008, over the last year alone, or the last couple of years, it's had a 413% increase in lawsuits against employers. That's based on the Daily Law Journal, and you can see the bar graph here where the increase in lawsuits has occurred. Back when this law was passed, it was known as a sue your boss law. PAGA was to prevent employers from abusing their employers or their employees and their workers, and that's a good thing. But recently, the law has been perverted into a money-making machine to benefit trial lawyers. All these lawsuits start out as wage and hour or meal and rest period lawsuits, but they never seem to go back that direction because during the discovery, it's easier to go after an employer for a simple paycheck violation. Thousands of California businesses are being hit with multi-million-dollar lawsuits over trivial paycheck violations. When you ask how trivial, let me use these aids. So basically, this is a copy of a paycheck stub from a member of the state staff. So the state staff is given a paycheck stub, and it says right here in this red circled line, the period ending 15 March 2015. They get paid twice a month. So at the end of the month, they get a paycheck that says period ending 31 March 2015. That, in the private business world, is against the law for private business because it does not have inclusive dates, meaning 1/1 to 1/15, 2015. That is a $100 penalty per paycheck for the first pay period, a $200 penalty for every paycheck issued thereafter, going back 52 pay periods in a 52-week cycle. If you have 100 employees, think about the PAGA penalty associated with that. Now, this is a paycheck stub that is basically a regular paycheck stub given by a private business industry. Basically, it says the week ending date is 3/15, 2015, and the period ending date is 3/15, 2015, and the check date is 3/15. So they got that check. This law assumes that if you work in the private business industry, you can't tell what paycheck stub goes with the first half of the month and what paycheck stub goes for the second half of the month. And so therefore, your employer should be sued for millions of dollars. When you look at the things that are going on, like these period paycheck stubs, that is a separate PAGA penalty that these trial lawyers go in for discovery. So basically in discovery, they find out that maybe you have a Wells Fargo logo on the front of your paycheck, but there's no address because you operate in multi-business locations and you want your employees to be able to cash their check in different cities around the state or even the country. That too is a paycheck violation because you do not have a specific address on your paycheck. Again, complying with the same penalties of $100 for every paycheck issued the first time you've paid your employees, $200 for every paycheck thereafter, going back again for one full year. My PAGA reform bill, AB 588, is pretty simple. It takes these minor violations out of the regular labor code and puts them in a cure section so that if you have a paycheck that is incorrect, you have 30 days to cure this said violation before a lawsuit can be brought forward. I have 4 business owners here that were willing to come up here today and share their stories, who have spent $100,000s and even millions of dollars in trial attorney fees and lawsuit settlements. Mr. Correa with West Star Trucking for instance, is going to share a story about just having Westar on the front of his paycheck. My bill won't fix Mr. Correa's situation, but I want you to know how egregious this lawsuit is. And then I also want to introduce Mr. Larry Jenkins, who's 63 years old, been in business in the state of California for 26 years, has 120 employees, and has recently purchased property and moved his operations to Texas, leaving bare bones here in California just to survive. Businesses are tired of what is going on in the state of California. Our employees are suffering for it. Jobs are leaving this state. Jobs are not being created or expanded on, and it's really sad. This particular law, in my viewpoint, is ruining companies, killing jobs, and destroying lives, and it's time that it stop.
Hi, I'm Dan Correa with Westar Trucking and Crane in Shafter, California. We have two of those lawsuits. The first one is bogus. The attorney that filed the claim is using a person that doesn't represent the class, never worked in it. He knows that. He has his business card, but he doesn't care. He just wants to do discovery on the other 140 people that work for us that are in that class. And the meal and rest period isn't a point of issue with him either, because he knows he's going to go in and comb through our records and try to find other violations that he can apply all the PAGA penalties to. We're spending thousands of dollars. I just looked at last month's statement, $38,000 in representation for the first claim. The second one is the attorney's telling us we have the wrong name on our paycheck. We know it's the right name. We met with him. We said, what can we give you to convince you that that's the right name on the paycheck? He said he didn't care. He didn't need anything. It'll all come out in discovery. So it's just a door opener is all they want, to try to go through our records and find one little labor code violation that they can find that'll add all those $2 million in penalties to. And we just can't continue to do it. I too have been in here for 28 years with our business. We've bought property in Corpus Christi. We can't stay in business and stay in California any longer.
Yeah, my name's Larry Jenkins. I own B&L Casing Service in Bakersfield. Been in business for 26 years. Born and raised in California. My story is similar to Dan's. Wage and hour lawsuit and the not having a lunch break, which basically just opens the door, because when they file that, they file everything they can. It comes as like a shotgun effect. They throw everything at you, and then they go through your records. Well, we just settled our lawsuit, and this is the second time around for us. This is a little bit more drastic, but basically ours was a bonus system that we gave our employees $1 an hour for being safe for every hour they worked. Being safe and turning in their paperwork correctly, and that was put on their paychecks, and they get paid every 2 weeks. So they took that, and after they come in and dissected, give them opportunity to come and go through everything. The lunch thing, it went south. They weren't interested in talking about that, but what they did get us for, it says in there that you have to pay a time and a half, double time, if it's tied to their hourly wage. Well, we didn't know that, and they went back 5 years. Okay, we didn't know it. The total 5 years for the damage to the people was $90,000. With penalties, the state of California come back. It was $1.5 million. All right, that's fine. And then they come back with the PAGA, and we went into arbitration with them 2 weeks ago, last Wednesday. They wanted $14.5 million from us for that. $14.5 million. And the arbitrator, which was a judge and an ex-attorney, he sat down in front of me before we started, and first thing he told me wasn't my therapist, and then he went in to say that we violated the law, and we had no case, and there we were. A long story short, at the end of the day, we settled for $1.5 million. Their bonuses are gone. We've taken those away. We would have gladly settled and paid for any damage we had done to them, but the law states that that's it. There's no movement. There's no time to go back and try to cure anything. I too have bought property in San Antonio, Texas, and I too am moving my people out, and we're leaving the state of California. This is the second time around. And the arbitrator, I don't know if I said it, but I'll repeat myself, When he sat down in front of us, he said, "This is California's legal way of extortion." That's a quote. California's legal way extortion. Thank you.
Yes, it is.